Hi everyone, this is Vu, and this is the Panasonic Lumix GH4 with a Olympus 60mm macro lens and my personal diffuser hooked to it. You can find those on photodonist.com. On top of the camera we have a mode dial here. M is for manual, IA is for full automatic. Those are the two that we're going to use the most often, but we're also going to learn how to use the C1 buttons to memorize our settings. White balance, ISO, and compensation are all up here on the top. There's a dial here for changing your settings, and there will be another one down here. There's a drive mode dial right there. Drive mode controls rapid fire or not. You want to leave it on the single frame most of the time. That there is self timer on the very end, and then rapid fire would be the second setting. We have the playback button here. Over here on this side we have the viewfinder toggle, so you can use this to toggle between viewfinder and rear screen. Over here we have the autofocus mode. You want to keep this set on the AFS switch here by default. This is to start recording videos. The Q menu is the quick menu. We'll go back into that a little bit. The FN3 is the focus area. Display toggles how much is displayed on the screen. There's a menu wheel, and then there's deleting the pictures are down here. We're going to turn the camera to manual mode. Up at the top here, we'll turn that top wheel to say M. And then we're going to go ahead and go through the settings to make this into a dental camera for you. So we're going to hit the Q menu. That's right here. And then we're going to go through each of these settings. It is a touchscreen. You can use the wheel, but I'm going to use a touchscreen because I think most people find that easier. For the picture style, it'll be standard by default. I like natural. For the flash, forced flash on or off, I like to keep the flash forced on. For the video settings, 1080 by 29. For the image size, I like to have a small, the 4:3 small here, but you can go with large if you want the maximum resolution from your images. That loads faster in my practice management software when I import it. It takes up less space on my server. And it's actually enough detail, even at the small resolution, to zoom into a molar to show a patient from a full arch photo. But I also pick RAW settings. If you use Lightroom, Capture One, or some other RAW converter, you use RAW files. If you don't have a RAW converter, then you may want to consider doing it in fine JPEG mode instead. Now we'll go over here to the autofocus mode. I'm going to leave it at the AFS. Over here in the focus area, this will drive you crazy. Use the one area focus, and you want to make sure that that one area is in the middle. Going down here to the aperture value, we're going to change our aperture to f16. You can also change aperture with the wheels up at the top of the camera too. The shutter speed, we're going to change that to 1/160th right there. Come on, there we go. The ISO, we're going to change our ISO value to 400. That's a nice balance between flash quickness and image quality. Our white balance, we're going to pick the flash white balance setting right there. We're going to hit exit. We're going to hit the menu button right here. And we're going to go through each of these screens. So up here in the record menu, our photo style, all these settings we already set in the quick menu, so we don't have to go through them again. Picture size, and then we're going to go down here to the metering mode, leave that alone, leave the burst rate alone, leave all this alone. The only thing we're going to change really is the flash setting here. So we're going to hit flash. We're going to hit flash right there. And then for the mode, TTL is fine. Leave all this alone. Go to the next screen. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Go down to the next screen here. Oh, I'm sorry, back at the first screen again. I forgot one thing. So flash adjust here, we're going to set that to +1. That'll be our default flash adjust. 1, because intraoral photoing, so we need a little brighter than the camera thinks. And 2, this diffuser that I have in front of the camera is going to eat up some light too. So we're going to hit that set button here. Now we're going to hit this back button to get back to the main menu. We're going to go down a screen. All these you're going to leave alone. All these you can leave default. All these you can leave default. We're going to go to the custom menu here. All these you can leave default. All these you can leave default. All these you can leave default. All these you can leave default up to the guideline here. So guideline, I'm going to set the little tic-tac-toe, the 3x3 grid here. That kind of helps you level your shots off. So I like having that tic-tac-toe grid over my viewfinder because then I can tell my occlusal arches aren't canted or anything like that. So it's helpful for me. You can set a plus for the center marker in the middle if you want. I find that kind of clutters the screen, so I leave that off. Highlight warning you can leave off for the most part. Zebra pattern you can leave off. All this stuff you can leave off for the most part. All that you can leave off. Auto review is one setting you might want to look at here. So when you hit auto review, it'll play back the image for 2 seconds at a time. And for some of you, that'll be fine. If you want it to be off completely, hit off. That will, if you want it to be the fastest at shooting, leave the auto review off. And that way it only shows the images if you hit the play button there. Otherwise, the 2-second setting is fine. Let's go here, one more screen, function button set. We're not going to change anything there. We're not going to change anything there. We're not going to change anything here. Menu guide, I'm going to turn that off. That gets really annoying. And then shoot without lens, we're going to leave that off as well. Okay, going to the custom mode here. Custom setting, we need to set our clock. My clock is already set, so we're good there. World time, travel date, Wi-Fi. You can change the Wi-Fi on your own later. There's headphone and speaker volume. You can leave that the same. Everything else here should be the same. Let's see. Yep, everything there looks good. So we're going to go back to this custom menu there, and we're going to go back to the first screen. You'll see custom set memory here. We're going to tap that, and we're going to hit C1. Okay, and it's going to ask you if you want to overwrite those settings. Yes. So from now on, let's say we're taking the camera and we just have a very bad day. Okay, we've got it down, we've got our aperture all screwed up, and we try to take a picture and it just looks horrible. Okay, our dental settings just clearly are not working. Well, first off, I didn't pop up the flash, that's one thing. But second off, now that it's recorded, what we can do is just turn to C1, and now you'll notice all our dental settings have been recalled. F16, that should be 160, I'll change that. Okay, 160, ISO 400, flash white balance, and now when we take a picture, it'll turn out perfect. Every single time we turn to C1. Now let's say I wanted to change a setting. See, I just changed the shutter speed to 160 because I had it wrong. We're going to go and hit menu again. We will go to the custom preset button right there. Okay, and hit custom set memory. I'm using the touchscreen, but you can also do this by turning the wheel. It's just easier for videotaping purposes to do this. And then you hit that, and it asks you, do you want to override it? Say yes. All right, and now it's overridden. Now I'm going to show you how to set a +2 setting, because I find that's handy sometimes. We're going to go to the camera button again, the main record menu. We're going to go up a couple screens to the 4th screen, that's flash. Hit that option. For the flash adjust, I'm going to do a +2 setting now. Okay, we're going to scroll our wheel over to +2 and hit set. We're going to go back, and now we're going to go to our custom menu again, hit custom set memory, and we're going to select C2. Okay, and we're going to overwrite the C2 settings. So now, when I go ahead and we'll just exit out here, hit the shutter button to exit out. So now when I'm in the C2 setting, I've programmed C2 to be +2. So if I have an area that, see, the picture's even brighter than it was with C1. So you can see a little bit, maybe you can't on this monitor, but I like using that +2 flash setting sometimes on my posterior shots, or sometimes if a shot is too dark for no good reason, I'll just hit C2 and that'll give me a little boost. I'll turn it back to C1 just for my normal shots. Now for my head shots, I'm still going to go back to full automatic. That just seems to be the easiest thing for us. Always make sure you have it, the flash turned on. Again, the flash button is right there. This camera, you almost always want to use the flash. For your headshots, you may want to consider removing the diffuser from the camera briefly for the headshots. it eats up a lot of light and it doesn't do you any good at long distance. It's really a close distance only flash diffuser. So you can either take it off, or you can shoot with it anyway. You just might not get as bright of a photo that way. One other thing, real quick. This focus setting right here. This is set, there's actually 3 different settings for this focus dial. There is 1:1. If you hit this, it'll go to maximum magnification. But what I want to do is show you the other 3 settings. So this is distance only. This setting here says 0.4 meters to infinity. That's for distance only. Going over here, this is 0.9 to infinity. That is full range. And then over here, this will be set to macro only. If you set it to macro only, it will autofocus on your macro shots a lot faster. The problem is when you go to do a headshot, it'll sit there and hunt endlessly because you've basically limited the lens to focus only at macro distance. If you set the distance setting, it'll focus on your headshots just fine, but then when you get to your close-up and dental shots, it'll sit there and you'll get frustrated because it won't focus closely. For my staff, we like it in this middle setting because it's goof-proof. Yes, the flash will hunt more. The flash may hunt more occasionally, but it's just one less setting you have to troubleshoot. So for us, that's the most trouble-free. I hope this helps you take some awesome dental photos with your diffuser and fire away. Enjoy.